Hey everybody, it's your first practical lab here in the shop. We're making simple flats. Let's have a quick look. You're going to want to study the drawing, see the dimensions of the flat that you're going to be building, and come up with a bit of a cutting list. I'm going to get started. All right, I finished making my cuts. Now I'm gonna nail it to the bench, but I'm gonna use this 90-degree corner of the bench to make sure that my flat is nice 90 degrees. The bench is made of plywood with a nice 90 degrees, and as long as we keep things nice and even and flush on the edges here, we're gonna have a nice 90-degree flat. All right, when I say I want something to be flush, what I mean is that I want this surface to be nice and even with the surface of the top of the bench. If they feel like they're one smooth surface there, then you know things are nice and flush. You also want this to be nice and flush as well. This board and this board should be nice and even. You should barely be able to feel any difference in the surface of that. All right, it says here to install a toggle rail at the 1 foot center. What does that mean? Well, we've got our toggle cut and we want to center it at 1 foot. So there's no sense making a center mark here and a center mark here and lining them up. You're making more marks than you need to. We know that this is 1.5 inches from side to side, so half of it is 3/4 of an inch. So we're just going to measure over 1/4, 1/2, 3/4 over. And for clarity, I'll do it on the same side as well. 1, 2, 3/4. And that is where our toggle will line up at center. I'm going to make the same mark on the other side. 3/4 of an inch, 3/4 of an inch, and the X indicates where that should line up. All right, the last thing I have to do before I start gusseting is marking my inset at 1/4 inch. So I have my combination square marked at 1/4 inch there, and I'm just going to go all the way around where everywhere I know I'm going to be putting a gusset and mark that 1/4 inch. All right, it's time to start gluing and gusseting. So I'm going to put about an 1/8 inch bead of glue on my gusset here, and what that means is that I'm just going to make the glue about that wide, 1/8 of an inch, and that should be enough. Okay, I've got my 3 nails in the corner, but now I'm going to do a little bit of layout. I'm going to draw a line that will indicate where this board runs below the gusset. That board runs straight through, so I'm going to make that line marks run straight through. This board here ends at this board here, so I'm going to make my line end here. Don't run it anywhere past, otherwise you'll start to confuse your layout and then your nailing pattern might be off. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put a nail there, along that edge there, where these two boards meet here and here. This board ends here, diagonally across from him, in this long gap here, and over in that long gap there. I don't want to put my nails too close to the edge because they might come out on the underside. You don't want that, but nice 1/8 inch, 3/16, almost 1/4 inch away from the edge and you'll be just right. All right, I put this nail too close to the edge. You can see I can't fit my gusset where it belongs. So instead of moving this nail, I'm going to put a new one in and then pull this one out. That way this board isn't going to move around on me. All right, last thing to do is to make sure that all your nails are at least flush with the surface or countersunk just below. And the way I can tell is if my hammer makes any metal rubbing sounds when I rub the nails like that. And if they are, I use my nail set to hammer them just below the surface. All right, that's about it. When I'm marking them, I'm going to be checking to see that your outside dimensions are correct, that your cuts are relatively accurate, that your gussets are inset 1/4 inch all the way around, that your toggle is centered at the 1 foot mark, and that your layout is nice and accurate all the way, and as well your nailing patterns are correct. If you've done everything just like that, there's no reason why you shouldn't do really well on this project. Good luck. We'll see you in the lab.